welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm your co-host Trevor Scott, and with me as always is Ben Slinger.
Hi, and our guest this week is Jacob Janerka, the developer of Paradigm, a point-and-click adventure game. Jacob, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problems at all. Congrats on the reception of Paradigm. It's been really awesome from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's been definitely nuts. I was expecting to crash and burn, but hopefully it's been very nice. It's been very nice.
I feel like you timed it really, really well for like, there's sort of been a bit of a resurgence of point and clicks with Thimbleweed Park and stuff coming out. So, good job. I think you had you had the release date originally on the date that Thimbleweed Park was going to come out. Is that right?
Well, I mean, now
or is a potential?
To be honest, I was more worried about the timing. Like, I didn't plan it to come out around Thimbleweed Park because, you don't want to have a competition with the guy who literally made the genre. So it's that's just bizarre. 20 years old later from what he's made, and be like, I'm now your direct competition right now.
Yep.
But it was supposed to come out in January. I probably would have preferred it to come out in January if it was actually done by then. But it did work out pretty well, I think. I mean, they obviously got more press than me, but I think it worked really well because, people who liked adventure games will look for other adventure games after they play Thimbleweed.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And I saw a lot of people mentioning you and Thimbleweed Park, or Paradigm and Thimbleweed Park, in the same breath, because of the closeness in release dates as well. So
yeah, that was really bizarre.
Yeah,
especially again, the guy who invented the genre is
yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, what we thought we'd do this week, instead of click pitch like what we often do, because you are a point-and-click adventure game designer, and also because the Adventure Jam 2017 is currently on, which I think you're also a judge of. Is that correct?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to do a segment that we did way back in episode 2 called Adventure Game Design Done Quick. And so we're going to pitch a few sort of ideas or settings for where one might set a small point-and-click adventure game. We'll probably just do something with maybe 1, 2, 3 rooms, a few characters. Find one we like, and we're just going to, for the whole hour, try to develop an adventure game, start to finish, stories, characters, puzzles. We'll see how far we get.
Oh, shit. It only took me 3 years to do it. Let's try to do it in
an hour.
Let's try doing it in an hour.
That's it. That's the challenge. So I've got a few sort of just small ideas here. Trevor, do you have a couple?
I've got a couple as well.
All right.
Did you happen to come up with any sort of situations there, Jacob?
Yeah, I had a few. So I don't know who wants to go
Awesome.
first.
All right, well, you're the guest. We'll let you go first, and we'll see what we've got.
All right. These are ideas that I thought of 10 minutes beforehand. So
yep, perfect.
Fantastic.
One of them is that you play as a dismembered hand, and the only way you can communicate with people is via sign language.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
I love it already.
It's not regular sign language. You have to kind of it's like charades basically. So you have to grab objects and that's how you communicate with other characters.
Yeah, you'd almost get an inventory of signs that you can.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's cool.
Another one is that it's basically like Disney's Cars, except it's really dark. They have car systems. So you have BMWs and Mercedes and stuff being the rich people, and then you have really shitty secondhand cars, and to live longer, you have to have parts, parts car wrecks, so they will get the poorer cars and kill them and use them for the.
God, take their parts.
But that's but then you can turn that into a lighthearted comedy somehow.
That's pretty damn dark.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next one was the character that you play is basically Hodor, so the character can only say one single word. So whenever you have dialogue trees, all it is just Hodor and then bracket the emotion that you say.
Right. Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be really interesting.
It's so hard to come up with anything else after hearing some of those awesome ideas. I'm like, I'm looking at my idea and I'm like,
give us a couple of yours, Trevor, or at least one.
Yep. So you're an undercover reporter reporting on the disappearances of children from the local orphanages and hospitals. The only link that you've managed to ascertain so far is that a local sweet factory has donated like sweets and gifts to the orphanages and hospitals, and they've got like links to, as you go through it, you find out that they've got links to like the devil.
That's I like the idea. I think we'd struggle to like fit that into an hour. All right, mine are mostly just like settings, so like they're not really stories necessarily. So being trapped in an elevator, like a bunch of people trapped in an elevator or in a stairwell, and then like aliens attack the building.
Yeah.
Now, whether they ever see them or not, I don't know. They just see them through the gap in the elevator door or something. I don't know. Anyway, relationships between people, and obviously we'll come up with some sort of story around it. How are we going to choose one?
Do you guys want to make it like a traditional point and click, or do you want it to have like unique narrative, or like something that's just like a walking simulator? Or
personally, I'm really thinking even something in the first two ideas that you had.
I definitely like the very first idea, the severed hand, just because there's some cool mechanics in a point and click you can do there around how you would deal with these limitations, basically, of communication and stuff.
As soon as I heard severed hand, I immediately thought of Thing from the Addams Family.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool one. Yeah, go on.
And I started thinking, what if many, many years later, Thing is still alive, but the rest of the Addams family has sort of passed away. So they could understand him. Like, the Addams family could always understand him, but he's still in the same house, but a new family has moved in.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
Do you have the money to buy the IP rights, man?
I'm slightly hesitant. To limit ourselves immediately to an existing IP. Maybe that can maybe be like the unofficial backstory that we don't actually say is that it's Thing years and years later. Let's sort of brainstorm a bit. What's the history? What's the backstory of this severed hand?
Do we want it to be fantasy, sci-fi, or just like current? I mean, you can still be sci-fi, I guess, in current day. Like, depends how far you want to take it, or you want to put it in like a dystopian kind of setting, or maybe because it can be like a magical hand, or it can be like magical science hand.
I kind of like the idea of it just present day. Maybe this hand is trying to figure out why it's been reanimated.
Maybe
or who it belonged to. Like, it doesn't even know who it belonged to.
Maybe it's like when we starting to learn how to grow people's limbs, like one of them is like unexplainable, like alive.
Yeah,
something like that.
I'm just wondering if there could be like a romantic subplot where the hand falls in love with a foot. So
star-crossed lovers,
or just like some horror movie, and it's just like scraping people, or just giving out hand jobs.
We could get
God.
Or maybe it likes, if you like a more PG-13, it just like likes giving high fives, and it just I mean that's like in my game. I'm just like giving a backstory to one of the fucking hands in my game, basically. I just realized.
There you go. It's a tie-in.
It's in the same expanded universe.
There's definitely going to be a lot of like hand job jokes and stuff. All right, like we may not show it on screen, but there's going to be something. If the plan is to really sort of design this a bit more detailed, let's come up with where this is taking place, and what sort of environments we might utilize for the puzzles and such.
Well, you could have it start off in the typical like alien is escaping the science laboratory, but it's still unique because it's just a regular human hand that's like gained sentience. So you could do like the puzzle starts out escaping a laboratory.
So just sort of does this hand like does the game start from when this hand gains consciousness, gains sentience, and picks itself up? I love like you could do some really interesting animation around this. Like the animation would just be fun to do.
Yeah, for sure. It would need to be like 3D and like physics. I mean, if we had unlimited budget, that is.
Yeah.
I think it would be actually funnier if like the intro is the hand being grown and then being attached to the person, and then basically it like wakes up, because you know how if you don't take the pills, the limbs will just like the body will reject it. So
yeah.
Okay, so I'm picturing like a cutscene of it's like laboratory. They regrow limbs. You sort of see the birth of this hand basically growing in a test tube or whatever. It's a little chamber. They take it out. It's this really lovely scene as it gets sewn onto its new host's arm. But you never see the face of the person that it's being attached to. And it's sort of there's like this music. It's like almost love story music of this hand has found its place in the world.
Yeah,
and then sharp cut to black, and then slowly fade back up, and the hand is just in the garbage or something, right? Or it's just like wakes up somewhere. It's not attached to its human anymore, but it finds that it can move by itself, and it's got some sort of intelligence. And
so I'm imagining that when it comes up from black, that you're in one of those like hazardous waste bags. So the first puzzle of the game is how does the hand get out of the hazardous waste bag?
All right.
So it can actually grip hold of objects and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because usually when hospitals and laboratories get rid of human waste, they put it into a Ziploc bag sort of thing. So it might be good to actually have that as one of your puzzles, that you're trying to find something sharp enough to cut open the bag.
Yeah, for sure. You'd want to teach the players some mechanics. Like, I guess maybe if it's like physics-based mechanics, I guess like there could be some sort of like arm shake or something. So you just have to shake the arm. Like, I don't know if that's like a good mechanic though. That can be applied to anything. Maybe like you can move around the arm. It's just like in the bag. So like the game starts off like the arm is like in a bag, and you have to like make it walk over a knife or something like that. Or like you have to like jump in a bag of syringes or something.
Are we picturing it's cut off at the wrist or like further up? Like how much of an arm does it have? Like
I think it needs the whole forearm.
I'm just trying to think from like a mechanics point of view.
I reckon a forearm.
Yeah. Okay. So like to the elbow.
Yeah, to the elbow. Yeah.
All right.
I was actually just thinking about the verb coin sort of idea. What verbs you would have, because obviously it
index
doesn't have
finger, middle
eyes.
finger.
Well, I was thinking instead of look at, you could put feel.
Okay. Yeah. So do you have to actually touch things to find out what they are?
Yeah.
What does the player see up until that point?
I guess you could have like text that just like is thinking to itself, or like it could have like a inner monologue kind of thing. The hand.
Yeah. It'd be an interesting challenge to do it without the hand actually ever speaking, and just sort of almost having reactions. But I feel like that might be a bit too tricky, particularly for what we're just trying to do in an hour. So, maybe it has a bit of an inner monologue.
Monologue it is.
You could, to like thinking about the scope of the game, I guess, would be to keep it kind of simple. Like, we don't need to have like a really epic backstory to it. Like maybe the whole adventure game, since it's like an hour, like would be just to find its owner, or maybe not find its owner, like find some other place where it's like it can be loved.
It can be happy, yeah.
Like a $5 pig show. Or something. Like maybe it becomes like a weird fetish dancer or something.
Massage parlor. Hand model.
Yeah, it could be hand model. That could be like one of the alternate endings.
If we have time, we'll come up with alternate endings. Well, no, I'm wondering, and this isn't obviously for our podcast as good from a narrative point of view, but I wonder if we should start from, like, come up with what the resolution is going to be, and then sort of flesh out how it would get there and what puzzles you need to solve as a player.
It depends how ridiculous you want to go with it. Like, you can make it kind of more simple, like that. If you wanted to make it like heartwarming, it would find someone like a poorer person who can't afford to have pay for like an extra limb or something like that. So they get like this extra limb cheaper, or you can go like a more ridiculous route when like a rich person wants like 3 arms. So
maybe you get to make a moral choice at the end.
like one of the puzzles are you just have to make like a Craigslist ad or something like that. And like one of the puzzles is that you'd have to like make yourself like really attractive, so you have to find like nail polish,
manicure,
and like moisturizer and stuff. So like you'd have like branching puzzles of like you would have to break into the local like beauty shop and like steal moisturizer and stuff.
What I'm worried about is if we're starting in the hospital, that there's not many places to go from there. I guess if you find...
You're starting out in the bin. So, well, I guess it's like, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to start out in a hospital bin. It can be, you know, out of a truck, and he falls out of a truck, the rubbish truck, while it's like driving.
All right, so maybe the first puzzle is still getting out of a garbage. Like you literally just find yourself in the dark in a garbage bag. There's like a little bit of light filtering through. And yeah, we teach the mechanics of the game.
Well, but you'd be seeing it third person though. Like, I mean, depends on how you want the view to be. Like if it's third person, you wouldn't be in the dark.
Well, I mean, I'm just picturing, you know, just sort of, I am thinking third person, but kind of almost a cutaway view of the bag. And there's enough light coming in that you can see where you are.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's like a small cutout on the screen, like a blackout kind of thing.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So you can see what's immediately around you in the bag, and there are a few things you can...
Maybe there's a scalpel or something that happens to be in the bag.
Well, that's maybe too obvious, but there'd need to be a puzzle before you just find a scalpel. Or maybe it is that it's dark and you just see some points on the screen, and you literally do have to move your hand over to them to feel them, and that sort of shines a bit of light on them, not in a physical, actual light sense, but in a way of like now the player knows what's there.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you do have this sort of black cutout thing with, you know, minimal light, as the hand goes to feel, you can actually like highlight the shape with a color that the hand now remembers what the shape of that object is, and
that could be
you can use the silhouette as sort of like, maybe that's
like a Daredevil kind
of thing. You've got to sort of match,
maybe
match the silhouette at the start.
maybe yeah, that's a good idea. I like that idea of feeling things, you're seeing silhouettes, and that's how you have to decide what to use. Maybe you have to find a pair of glasses and put them on, and then you can see.
Maybe you have to find like actual eyes and then attach them to yourself.
Oh god, just dangling from the stem off this fucking severed hand.
Well, why not? So how has this hand come to life then? Is it through mystical means?
I don't think you need an explanation. Like, it just...
And then finding eyes or glasses just makes sense then, right? Like, well, yeah, I need to be able to see things.
Oh, and then you can maybe add other parts, like ears, and then all of a sudden you can hear conversations going on. And
yeah, I do like that idea of like that's almost that's your sort of your way of gaining new verbs, is you have to find the appropriate thing to attach to yourself.
How would they like? It depends how dark you want to get it. Like, how does they find the body parts? Is it just like the hospital throws away these like eyeballs and like ears like everywhere? Like, this is such a surplus of body parts that you find it, or like you have to like?
I think it has to be a little bit more metaphorical almost. So it might be that you put glasses on and can see, and it might be that you find a hearing aid, or what else would make you hear something. Like even fake ears or something. Yeah, like
a stethoscope or something like that, and all of a sudden you can just happen to hear.
Yeah, or even just like a microphone, like you find a headset or something.
But then again, let's like look back at it. Like, why does the hand need to hear anything? Like, doesn't
well, so that it can solve the puzzles it needs to find a new host.
I mean, I guess if it required, like, you needed to talk to a character, but you can't hear anything yet, so you have to like find it. I guess you could do it like in the first. Like maybe in the first 10 minutes, like all the body parts are like in that first area, and you just have to like find them all,
or
kind of thing.
Well, and particularly because it's going to be a relatively short game. Like, I think you find, so you're completely in the dark at the beginning. I mean, you'd probably need some visuals in there to show that you can move the hand around and stuff, but it literally just, like you said, feels the outlines of things. You find glasses. Just because I kind of like the idea of the pair of glasses, like up on the top of the forearm of this fucking walking arm. You find the glasses, and then you can see that you're in this bag, and that lets you basically use the other items to get out. So whether there is a scalpel or something sharp or whatever.
Yeah.
But then as you go around, and we'll think of a few characters, but I'm thinking like you can't talk to any of the characters except one of them who knows sign language.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good idea.
Because all you can do is see, like the other people, waggle their lips at you, but you can't hear them yet. And so there's some puzzles around talking to that person in sign language that you end up finding the headphones or whatever it is. And then maybe you find something that lets you talk, and then that puzzle would open up the final puzzle, I think, to finding your actual host.
Okay. What do you want the final thing to be like? Do you want the host to be like what I was talking about, like make a Craigslist ad, or do you want it to be something more like meaningful?
That could be one of the puzzles. That could be I kind of like that idea of sort of by that point we've told the player that this is what this hand wants, is to find a new host. And so one of the puzzles is to put out a Craigslist ad, and a bunch of people show up. And then you get to like, you either get to decide, or there's some puzzle around weeding them out, or I don't know.
Or seducing the right one. So you have to actually look at the other hands that they've got and see how
well they match or something.
Well, how they've actually decorated their hands. So if they've put like red nail polish on and they've got perfect manicure, then you've got to match that to sort of seduce that person into wanting to choose you.
Oh, so they choose you.
But why are they choosing you though? Because like you made the ad, so there's no other competing hands.
They already want you. Maybe just at the end, that's just you just get to have a choice, and we'll do a few different endings. Just ending cutscenes based on which one you choose. It's like the epilogue. Here's what happened.
You really shouldn't have chosen this guy. He just used you for degrading things. Like...
Yeah, exactly. Just like all this just creepy, weird sex stuff.
Or just like not even weird stuff, just like playing with dolls or something like that for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, I don't know what the best thing would be, like writing the great American novel. I don't know, like doing something great, like being making clay pots or something that are beautiful clay pots. That's like the best the best ending.
Being very artistic.
And there's just like lots of pictures on his desk, framed photos of him having handshakes with famous people around the world.
Yes,
just the hand with like Nelson Mandela or something.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so I like that as a general arc. I think so. Let's come up with some of the details. Let's do the puzzles. Let's do the characters. Let's see how far we can get to an actual complete sort of game idea here.
Is there going to be like a mechanic, like a time mechanic, that your arm is only so fresh now? And it's only going to last a certain amount of time, so you're on sort of like a time limit.
It's
People
probably a
hate
bit
time
punishing.
mechanics.
Yeah, not in point and click adventures.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I wouldn't reckon like everyone just. It's just like one of those things that people just get really mad about when they see it in games like these days. Like it's.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is if maybe the puzzles. One of the puzzles later on is that you have started to rot a bit, so maybe you have to like find some perfume or something.
Yeah, I mean it would have to be like maybe like a 2-minute thing, like anything that's like longer than 2 minutes, like people get mad, they have to redo like a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I'm not even thinking of it as an actual like time limit on the player. It's more just using that concept of this hand is starting to rot.
Oh, I like the idea. I mean, like it could be funny, like it I mean, one of the puzzles you'd have to find like ice or something like that. So you have to like wrap yourself in like an ice vest or something like that.
Yeah, like an ice pack or something.
At these certain points, it's going to gradually degrade, and it's like maybe your hand's moving slightly slower because it's not quite as fresh, so it needs to get an injection or something like that of like a reanimation fluid or something like that.
I mean, I'm thinking it's literally like one of the last puzzles to end up being connected to the person that you choose or something. Like you choose them and they go, "Oh my god, you stink like a rotting flesh."
Yeah.
And so that's like one of the final puzzles you have to solve is getting yourself all ready to present yourself to the person that you want to be attached to. And yeah, maybe it's perfume or makeup or something because you're starting to go a bit green.
All right, so we got to plot it out now. So you start out in. Have we decided if he starts out in like a dumpster in like a back alley, or he falls off a truck or dumps the truck, or?
I think he's in the truck. Like, so you're in the garbage bag. You feel around for the silhouettes. You see one silhouette that looks like that's pretty obviously glasses. You pick it up, put it on, and then sort of you can see inside this bag somewhat because there's like light shining through.
Yeah.
And that lets you see the glinting that's up a bit higher that maybe you couldn't reach before you had the glasses on. Like there was just no reason to click up there. Climb up there. There's a shard of glass or a knife or something. It probably doesn't. It can probably be pretty.
Maybe you want to make a puzzle. It's like a bottle, and you have to like break the bottle. So then
or even a beaker or something.
Well, because
like
that'll
that.
teach. Because we've taught picking up or using with picking up the glasses. So what's going to be interesting about this game? You can only ever have one inventory item, and you probably can't move while you're carrying it.
Well, you can stretch.
I mean, the glasses you end up putting on yourself, maybe, that might be one of the things we have to come up with. But yeah, I think like using the bottle on whatever, there's a brick or something that you can smash it on within the bag. Is, you're teaching use X on Y.
Yeah.
And then, you've got a broken bottle. You slash the bag open and you get a little scene of this hand with attached forearm tumbling out of the back of a garbage truck as the garbage truck drives away, and you find yourself on the side of the road.
Yeah. Cool.
And that's sort of our opening. And then you've got a few different locations you can go to.
So, Jacob, you were talking about like charades before. Are you only going to be able to choose from like a limited selection of things that your that the hand can do?
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's a good question.
You I guess you would have to like maybe like one of the very first scenes is like someone actually picks you up and you have to convince them that you're like alive or something like that. Like or maybe they take you somewhere and they're like hell scared that you're alive, but you have to convince them like
you're friendly.
Yeah, you're friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
So you can like pick up a flower and try to give it to them and
oh yeah.
Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, using different inventory items.
Yeah. So like maybe you're like in a back of a store or like in a back somewhere, and the person's like freaking out and like hyperventilating, so you have to like calm that person down.
Okay. I'm picturing sort of a scene where you're up on a table and there's just a bunch of different objects you can use, and based on which ones you pick up, the person starts reacting in different ways.
I think it shouldn't be on the, like, if you just have it all on the desk, it's like too obvious. Like you'd have to have it like littered around the room, like all over the room.
Yeah. All right. Yep. That makes sense. All right. Well, so let's again get into a bit more detail. What's the shop? Who's the person?
Okay, it's a hardware shop.
Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking a hardware shop that is literally in the middle of a hold-up. And the storekeeper has actually been tied up to a chair.
Right.
And maybe the people who have just robbed him have just left, and he's there tied up in the chair. He sees this disembodied hand come in, and he starts freaking out even more than you already was.
How did the hand get in there?
In through like a window that was cracked open.
Well, I mean, if the place has been robbed, the doors are probably open.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, we could, if we want, we can come up with a puzzle on how to get in there, of course, but
you'd have to have a reason why the hand would want to go in the hardware store.
Yeah, I guess it's, do we just guide the player in there? Is that like, is this the only place you can go at the beginning? Or is this just one of a few places you can explore, and so the players are going to go there eventually, and we just need
You definitely would want a narrative for it. Like, you wouldn't want to just lead the player because there's like no other direct place to go. Like, you'd have to like maybe like the hand has some like something on it, like maybe it has like chains or something on it that needs to get off, but that makes it complicates it more.
I mean, it could just be that you see, like, when you get to a certain location, you see the burglars like bust out the front door.
But why would a hand want to go after those burglars though?
Well, it just might want to see what they did in there. That's a good point. You probably need to think of it from the hand's point of view.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a beauty shop, like Jacob said, and
well, I mean, I think the issue is, I think
it can still be a hardware shop. It just needs a reason, like why it would want to go into a hardware shop. But
yeah, I mean, this hand has no motivation at this point, really, does it?
Well, I mean, we've established that it wants to be like you wanted to establish early on that it wanted to be with someone. Like it has to have like some motivation rather than just like randomly going to somewhere, unless you like made the cut sequence where like that was just the first building that it went into, like it crawled down like a like the basement of the place or something, like in those like New York when you have like those like basements or something.
Yeah, well, because I'm trying to think, like, yeah, that is the motivation of the hand. It's just, have we communicated that to the player yet? Because we've had the opening cutscene where they did get connected to someone, if we're sticking with that, and then they wake up in this dumpster, they get out, and it's sort of, now what? I mean, I guess that gives an implicit motivation of, either find that person or find someone new. I mean, I guess if we're doing the internal monologue, we can explain it through that.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if the sole motivation at the start is, I need to get the hell off this street because there's people like absolutely everywhere, and there's people getting freaked out by this disembodied hand. So you're just trying to escape, and the one place that you can actually escape at the start is maybe down an alley that then leads you to like a basement window.
Maybe that's just like Jacob, you said, the sort of opening cutscene. You fall out of the truck. There are people around. You hear screams, and they sort of run in different directions. The hands sort of scrabbling back and forth in panic, and it scrambles down through this basement window.
Yeah, sure. And then it goes into the scene where the guy is tied up.
Yeah, he's tied up in the basement. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And
I like that.
The only way to get out of it is that you have to like convince him that you're okay, and then you can like, because if you untie him, he just like kicks the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's it. If you even get close to try to untie him, he like kicks you off him because he's too freaked out. So you got to do something.
I think it would be funnier if like you could untie him, but then he like would just stomp the shit out of you. And
okay. All right, so this is a Sierra game, not a LucasArts. So you've got deaths.
In King's Quest VII, they actually came up with a rewind mechanic. So after you got sort of stomped, it could then rewind to maybe let's try that again, sort of thing, so that you could see the death scenes, but not be told, okay, well, you've died. There's nothing you can do now.
Yeah, for sure. It wouldn't be like that. Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you just revert it to before the point of no return, before a death. Yeah, that's fine.
Because I'd actually like people to find all the funny death scenes.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for that, for sure. All right, so if you're just trying to untie him without like calming him down first, you just get turned into this puddle as he stomps the crap out of this disembodied hand. All right, so what are the sort of interactions that you've even got there at the beginning?
Well, you should just consider what kind of character it is to appease the person. So you could just have a regular person who owns a hardware shop, but I think it'd be funnier if you had like a trope breaking thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It could be like a clown that owns the fucking hardware shop, or just something like really bizarre, like a, I don't know, like a.
I'm trying to think. Why would someone? What proclivities would someone have that they'd want to own a hardware store? Like that, owning a hardware store would benefit them in some way.
Well, maybe they inherited it and they didn't like it, so it's like they have their own like backstory, like they inherited it from their parents or something.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
And they always wanted to be a clown, as you sort of were saying before. So maybe he's down there in his basement, all dressed up in like clown gear.
We'll just get Thimbleweed Park clone.
Maybe he's like a steampunk clown because all he had was the stuff in his hardware store to like build his clown costume.
Or maybe he's just like a cosplayer or something like that.
Yeah,
it's a really bad one though.
It's like tried to make Halo armor.
No, I'm just imagining that he's trying to dress up as Ransom the Clown.
Yeah,
that might be a bit too on the nose. On the red nose. Yeah, a cosplayer is good. I mean, a cosplayer has a reason to own a hardware store to some degree. Maybe so. Maybe they like having the hardware store because they've got access to all the stuff. But yeah, they're just really terrible at making cosplay costumes.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be a hardware store. It can be, maybe a pawn shop or or something else that is more likely to get robbed.
That's true.
Yeah, good point.
Or it could be a jewelry store, and then you can like when you like leave the place, you steal heaps of rings and shit, and just like deck yourself out with rings.
All right, yeah, that works. Jewelry store works because you could do some good jokes around.
Or the beauty store. So then you just like lather yourself in like pools of moisturizer.
I think I like the jewelry store a bit better. I think.
All right, nice.
I don't really have a reason for that. It just struck me as Anyway, you could do some good jokes when you try to use necklaces about not having a neck or something. I don't know.
But you can get bracelets and, but other ones, you try to get an anklet and it's like, what do I look like? A leg?
Yes, exactly. All right, so it's a man or a woman who owns a jewelry store that they inherited.
What kind of person could it be? Oh, maybe it's like someone who's like, maybe they didn't even inherit it. Like maybe they don't even run the shop. Like maybe it was just someone who was like, the person had to like run out the shop to do some errands, and he just like got his friend to stay at the shop, and now he's like being fucking robbed, and he's like, fuck my friend. Like,
so his friend
like I fucking try to help him out, and now I'm getting robbed
and tied up. And now I've got a disembodied hand.
Oh, maybe he's like really into
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Maybe he's like really into BDSM, and like when you try to untie him, he like tells you not to.
No, I'm into this.
so he's like, maybe that'll be the puzzle. Like you get the stuff to untie him, but he's like, just untie my legs, just leave everything else. So like the character would be walking around like bound and gagged.
But he's actually saying, "Get me the ball gag from over there."
Or like maybe you just untie his legs and like just like one of his wrists, so he'll open the door for you, but then he'll like tell you to tie him up again.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Does that play into the puzzles though, or is it just kind of some flavor on top that before you leave, he's like yelling out to you, "No, tie me back up."
Yeah, I mean, that would be like flavor, right? So you'd have to like you untie him. You first convince him that like you're not like gonna kill him.
Yeah.
So I guess the best way
do we want to figure out what the puzzle would be? Is it
so
what's lying around in this basement? Is it still that we've kind of gone off? Because I was going to say, if it was a cosplayer, it'd actually be kind of funny to have a bunch of these terrible half-made cosplay costumes lying around. But if we're going with a friend who's just at the store, that doesn't work as well. I guess we need to figure out what how this puzzle's resolved. How would you convince this person?
I think you would have to like make the person as plain as possible. So like the gag of him being into BDSM like makes it more funny.
Yeah,
like it would have to be like just like a regular dude, I guess, like a real plain.
I now kind of like the idea of like a kind old lady, being into BDSM.
Yeah, maybe it's like a grandma or something like that. She's like wearing like florals or something, and then you have to like.
Right. Let's go with that. Let's just say that if any old grandmas out there are into BDSM, we're not trying to shame you here.
No, we're not.
All
we're
perfectly
not shaming.
Fine. We're just saying it's a bit incongruous. So, all right, let's go with the little old lady trope. She's tied up.
Or maybe you like subvert it. So like you try to think of things like you got the red herring. So you like old lady, all right. You find like tea and biscuits and stuff in the room. But she doesn't like it. But
and she just tells you to fuck off.
But if you like actually like look under, like her wallet is there, and then you open up her wallet and it's just got pictures of her in a gimp suit or something. So then you find like more rope or something. Like maybe you have to tie her up more.
So all right. So the actual puzzle is, I guess, are you just trying to get out of this basement?
Yeah, like maybe like she doesn't have to open it herself. Like maybe it's just like a code, and she'll tell you the code. So you just have to like press it in.
All right,
so it's like a keypad.
So the puzzle is that you're trying to befriend her.
Yeah, to give. So she'll give you the code.
Is your hand able to actually write?
Well, it's a key code, so you just press it in.
Yeah, but I'm talking about to actually write a message, maybe to communicate.
I don't think you could.
Maybe you can pick up a.
you'd have to assume that the hand can't write English, I think, because it just like a work, so it doesn't know how to speak like languages.
Plus, and I mean, it potentially could, but you'd need to provide it with pencil and paper, and if we just, I think that's a bit too obvious for the puzzle.
Yeah,
I think it's more about talking. Well, wait, can we hear this woman yet, or did we decide that wasn't? Isn't the whole thing that original thing was that we wouldn't be able to hear anybody?
How much time do we have left?
I mean,
plenty.
Well,
as much as we need.
I mean, as long as you can stick around. But we do want to.
Well, we should keep it under an hour, so then we can keep moving it along. So then we can use that deadline instead of going, because this could end up going for like 3 hours.
All right, so let's resolve this. Are we sticking with the idea that we can't hear them? Because if we have to talk in sign language, it's going to be really hard with her bound and tied to a chair.
We have to talk in sign language, but we can understand what they're saying.
All right, so we don't stick with needing to find some sort of ears to hear.
I mean, literally, like, all you need to do is like convince her that you're not going to kill her. So I think we don't need like all that extra stuff. Like, it would be good to keep it simple, and we just have to figure out, what to give her to calm her down, rather than communicate.
All right, so we have some puzzles there. You've sort of got. I mean, so how do we find this out? You said there's the wallet.
Yeah, like her purse is like on the side. So then you like check the purse and you see like, photos of her grandchildren,
photos
and then the BDSM
turn
photos.
The page and there's
her in a gimp suit.
I
still can't get
Mildred,
the image of that out of my head.
There's Mildred, ball gag gimp suit.
Mildred. Yeah, that's her name. All
right, so do you, or maybe you have to fashion a ball gag out of something,
or maybe you have to like make the rope like a better tie. Like there's like, because it's like apparently that's like a huge thing in the BDSM community that you have to have like really good knot techniques. So
okay,
so you have to like.
So she's there and she starts complaining. Once you discover this, and maybe you show it to her, to sort of move on to the next set of dialogue, and she starts complaining about the shitty knot that these burglars did. And if you fix this for me, I'll give you the code.
Fuck, how would you make a better knot though? Like, you'd have to explain that though. How would we do that?
Yes, you would. How would a hand learn how to tie a proper BDSM knot?
Are we still in a jewelry store or a hardware store?
Whatever works for this puzzle.
That's true. It probably would make more sense to be in a hardware store, because there would technically maybe be a book laying around for tying knots, right? So
yeah, all right. So I mean, it could just be a book there. Obviously, if you see the knot tying book first, it's not going to make much sense until you've like solved the rest of the puzzle to find out that she's into BDSM. And so yeah, that could just sort of be the little puzzle tree within this area of find the wallet or find the purse, go through look at the photos, talk to her and find out that she wants a better knot, look at the knot tying book to find the specific knot. Maybe you have to turn the pages to find the knot.
Maybe like to get the book you have to do something like, maybe it's like on a shelf, so you have to like knock things over so you can climb up to get to it.
Yeah, okay, there's a bit more of a physical puzzle there. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that could be a fairly simple environmental puzzle, but just a little bit of a barrier to can be.
So red herrings around the room, I think you can find a vase with some flowers in it, and you think that just giving her flowers will be the
shitty toffees.
The obvious solution, but it turns out that she's maybe allergic to the flowers or something like that.
Well, I think it's just she's not into it, and she can make that pretty obvious.
I think too many of my games make fun of old people.
Any fucking flowers. I'm just wondering what else you could have in the room. Like,
I mean, I think there are a bunch of things we can come up with. I think we need to move on to the next.
Yeah, we need to get to
section,
the outside room. So
we're never going to get past the first puzzle tree section.
All right. Okay, so out of the first puzzle room.
All right.
There
so
we go.
You enter the code. You go upstairs. You're in the hardware store. All right. So if we're not going, are we still going with sort of needing to find parts? Obviously, we've established we don't need to find anywhere to hear. Do we need to find more ways to communicate, or is this where we just start looking for new hosts, basically?
Or maybe you need to get somewhere. Like somehow it's explained you have to get somewhere, so you have to like build like transport. So you have to make like a skateboard kind of thing that you can like
okay, yeah, that's cool.
Push yourself around. Like you need to get like maybe you actually need to get back to the person that you were sewed on to. Like maybe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, and again, a lot of this can just be explained through the sort of internal monologue of this hand as it looks at things and moves around.
Like maybe like it had on its hand, like the owner wrote the address, like he just moved into a new flat, so he like wrote the address on his like hand,
on the back,
right?
Yeah.
So that's like what you have. Like maybe that's all you have of your pasts. So you like,
if found, please return to 123 Fake Street.
Yeah, so that's like maybe that's just your quest to go.
Maybe you haven't seen
person.
that until you manage to look in a mirror that's in this hardware store, so you can actually kind of see what's written on yourself.
Yeah, sure.
You get a little zoomed in cutscene and see that that's on there to sort of prompt you to move towards. Yeah, now we need to find this person.
So I'm just imagining that it's a puzzle where it's a visual puzzle because it's backwards in the mirror. You actually have to go to like the computer to actually type in what it actually is, but you got to physically change it in your mind as to what it actually is.
So it's like,
so if you see 123 Fake Street, but it's actually inverted in the mirror, then you've got to try and just work out what the actual address is to put into like Google Maps or whatever, so you can find out how far away this place is.
Maybe you have to like get an Uber and somehow like.
Well, no, I like the idea of having to construct something in the hardware store. I think that's a good puzzle for something like this.
Maybe you need to construct like something that makes you look like a human, so then you can like catch the Uber. So like you have to trick the Uber
I don't think we can
into
solve
your
that in
person.
20 minutes. I don't think we can come up with that puzzle set in 20 minutes.
Oh, you could just get like a dummy and like you have to put it on like rollerblades
two skateboards.
or something. Like this hardware store happened has rollerblades, and then
as I said, it's a pawn shop.
Yeah,
it's a pawn shop / hardware store / jewelry store
Easy.
/ human dummy store. Convenient.
So maybe that's just a puzzle, and then we can move on, and then you finally get like the Uber driver takes you, but he ends up being like a dodgy Uber driver, so he like drops you off to get robbed. But because you're just a hand, like
you come
pretending
up someone
to be
mugging your fake human self.
Yeah, so you just like basically like crawl out of the thing and like they just mugging a mannequin.
So do you like crawl out and freak them out, or you literally just crawl out and leave?
Yeah, you just crawl out away, and like the gag would be like you'll be like walking away, and they'll be like just like hell shouting,
"Give me your
like
fucking wallet!"
Like put your hands up, and like you think you're a tough guy.
I said put your hands up.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, yeah.
That's just a perfect visual. I can just imagine that.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right, so you've got an Uber to the place that's on your arm.
No, well, that's the thing. Like, it was a dodgy.
Oh,
Uber driver,
they dropped.
so,
right, okay. Yep.
But you end up being
So
quite
now you
close
still need to get
anyway.
there.
So, but like, there's maybe like a dog on the street or something blocking you, or something else.
Maybe you need to befriend the dog somehow and tell them.
Give it pats or
and
something.
ride them to your.
Ride the dog, yeah.
Just like holding onto the scruff of its neck as it like barrels down the street.
Or maybe like you see that it's actually from the house that you need to go, like on its tag.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like you said, you have to like
Maybe you need to like
grab onto it while it's like maybe it's like running around.
There could be something about needing to call its name, but again, like we can't actually make sounds yet.
Sure, I mean that could be the puzzle that you find something that you can talk with.
Yeah.
Like maybe like this is like semi-future and dogs have like those like in Pixar Up where they have like the collars that allow them to talk. Like maybe you find one of those and then like steal it from like a dog or something, another dog maybe.
Or maybe you literally like steal a like text to speech thing from a deaf person.
Or like Stephen Hawking just happens to be on the street and you just steal it off him.
Yeah, or there's something. Yeah, exactly. And you have to type in the right name and tell it to come home. Tell the dog to come home, and then as it runs off, you grab onto it.
That's perfect.
All right, there's that puzzle solved.
Is it around now that the arm starts smelling? So you got to make like that detour to like get maybe a manicure or something like that.
Well, you're gonna be at the house now, so but maybe there's like a twist, like when you get there or something.
Yeah, well, maybe that's it. Maybe you get there.
The owner already has another hand.
Yeah, there's like this great scene where you've been betrayed. I found a better hand.
Peer through the window, and it's just giving the dude a hand job, and you're like, "Fuck."
You look in the window and this guy's just jerking off. How dare you?
I wonder if that would fly on Steam. I wonder if you could get a game on Steam with like.
I mean, it depends how graphic you are with it.
Well, you can have like nudity in the game, and I think it asks you like when you.
Well, I'm just picturing you. You look like you get to the house. You kind of climb up on the windowsill. You look in, and you catch the guy talking to his new hand before it sort of slowly moves down to his crotch.
Yeah,
that's maybe hidden behind something, and just the obvious hand motions start up. The sad music swells.
Maybe you want to have like revenge or something. That's like the post.
I'm just imagining now, like the camera swings around and you just see like, just the hand sitting on the windowsill, and you see almost like shadows, like moving up and down, like in the glasses or something like that. And it's sort of like it's got a.
Oh yeah, I love that this hand's still
sad
wearing
music,
glasses.
and it's just
like a tear rolls down its fucking
like how
thumb.
A tear roll on a hand. It's like
that's
sweating.
A little sweat. Yeah, it's just like a drop of sweat rolls down its thumb. Well, maybe it is revenge. Maybe the next puzzle is you wait till they're done and you have to find a way to damage his current hand, so that he'll take you back.
So you got a couple of different choices. You got like the blender. You've got
a blender too.
You got a blender. You've got. I'm just trying to think of something heavy that you could like crush the hand with. Maybe there's like a weight set in the background, and you can like set up almost like a Rube Goldberg-esque sort of contraption that
mousetraps or something.
Maybe the guy falls asleep afterwards, and like you have like a sign language discussion with this other hand, because it's obviously sentient as well.
Funny, actually. Yeah,
like a thumb war to like
a thumb war. Yes, that's awesome. Oh, I don't know how that would work mechanically, but we'd figure something out.
Some mini games.
That's really fucking funny.
I love that.
Maybe if you win, like maybe you make a deal that if you win, he just leaves. Just detaches himself, gets up and walks out.
Well, maybe you win, but like the last puzzle, you have to like cut the arm off somehow. But you can't just cut it off because he would wake up. So you have to like sedate the guy.
Sedate him.
You have to like find like drugs in the house.
Yeah.
Like
okay, yeah. I mean, you
something.
could walk around, find some drugs of some kind, slip them into a drink. You could have a puzzle around having to do it without the guy seeing you.
All the puzzle is like...
And we just got banned in Australia again.
No, the drugs are a negative effect, not a positive.
We were banned way before that in Australia.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, the alternate thing there would be that he actually detaches his current arm before falling asleep, and you win the thumb war with them, and they do leave, and then the guy wakes up, but then we do the thing where it's like he doesn't want you because you started to rot. And that might be that next puzzle tree before he'll actually accept you back as his arm.
What if somehow like you end up like taking over his body? Like he becomes the host. Like you're the basically you become that person, and he has situation. Yeah. So maybe like I don't know. Maybe you find like a Necromicon.
All right, we're gonna really ramp it up here at the end.
Well, you could like maybe you don't find it. Like maybe you find like the TV is on, and like when you're watching TV, there's like an ad for to buy a Necromicon on like late night TV for like 3 easy payments of $2.99. I mean, that's basically like Day of the Tentacle when you buy this cubic zirconia puzzle. I'm just like ripping off Day of the Tentacle again.
Well, maybe this whole thing's been as you were saying before, a revenge plot. That because this guy rejected you, sure, his body rejected you, but you were actually rejected. Your whole thing is now I just want to kill this guy and then I can die in peace.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Even though you were sort of thinking, I need to get this guy. We need to I need to get back there so we can be one again. And it turns out that the whole thing is just a ruse. He just wants to get back and totally destroy this guy for destroying the hand's life.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So the end is just literally coming up with some extremely ridiculous way of killing this guy.
Yeah, and before you can enact that, that's when the other hand comes in to do the thumb war. And if you best the other hand, you sedate the hand, and you're able to actually fulfill your plan of killing the guy. And
well, I like the idea that you've sedated the guy, like as part of this plot to kill him. You've sedated the guy, but the hand, his new hand, is still sentient, and so that's where you like have the discussion with it, end up with a thumb war. You beat it, and I guess like knock out the hand.
Maybe it becomes like, maybe this is like a prologue for like an iRobot kind of thing. Like you become the first hand to like go against its master.
Maybe that's it. You convince it. You
like
convince it to come to your side of the the sentient hands.
The four rules of sentient hands or something like that. I did not kill him.
So I'm picturing the final scene. Have you both seen A Clockwork Orange?
Yeah.
No, but I know the general idea.
So there's an iconic scene where Malcolm McDowell, I'm pretty sure it was, was sitting on a throne and sort of just looking forward, and they sort of zoom into the camera down this hallway, and they come to him, and he's just sort of looking straight ahead with sort of a blank stare, but he's got like all his minions off to the side and that sort of stuff.
Right.
I think that would be a perfect scene to sort of finish on. That
sitting there, it like slowly zooms out, and you see just these hordes of severed hands,
all
with different accessories,
all bowing to him. Just go really dark with it.
All the furniture is like, you know how you have like furniture which is like big hands, like seats, like just like
are they sitting
but,
on
like
them,
instead of hands,
that...
but it's like, but you have like human like human furniture.
Yeah, okay.
Oh god,
it's just like humans
be made out of wood,
the shape
but
of a chair.
You're just like
you could have some
like,
really good
morose.
Have some really good visual gags. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what's the sort of final step? So you play the thumb war. You beat this hand in the thumb war. You convince it to come over to your side. Do you just like murder this human together and then go off into the sunset to rule over all of handkind?
But I don't know. I don't know if you want to be like friends with this other hand. Like maybe you want to kill that hand as well. Like or like you'd banish it or something because you're still fighting over it. I don't think you'd become friends after a thumb war. Like,
I thought we were convincing it. All right, well, maybe it just runs off scared.
Like maybe there's like an inbuilt mechanic.
It's just like Highlander. It's just like Highlander. That there can only be one, and
maybe he gets stronger each hand he kills. So he becomes like a big bodybuilder hand. Like after
his just muscles just start popping out of his forearm.
That's more like Jet Li's movie. What's that called?
I love it.
One, yeah.
Is it called One? I think it's just called One.
I think it's called The One, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Well, that's probably a complete game there. Someone can build that. Right, Adventure Jam 2017. Oh, no, you're a judge. I think if someone built this for Adventure Jam, then you'd be biased. Maybe we won't tell people to do that. After Adventure Jam finishes,
someone definitely should.
Cool. That's really funny. All right, do we have a title for it? We need to come up with... There's got to be something around...
A title
around hands or arms.
Sticky fingers.
One hand army. I don't know. Yeah.
You don't want to give away the ending.
Handshakes for pussies. I don't know. the epic saga. Or maybe like you name it.
Manos, the Hands of Fate.
Yeah. Like maybe some like dystopian kind of title or something like that. Like, I'm not a hand, I'm a man. No, like I am.
Not a
man. Just I am hand.
I am hand.
I am arm,
I have no mouth and I must scream. Sure, it's another game, but anyway.
Hand over fist. No.
Job hand.
We're actually
hand job.
We're actually terrible.
Or like hand. Like maybe it's like just a really bad pun. It's like just called hand occupation or something like that. Hand
appendage
life.
of
hand slave. I don't know. Hand. What's another word? What's sort of some more synonyms?
Hand
for
employment.
jobs? Hand employment. That sounds like a really good name for a band or something. Like hand employment. We're hand employment.
Oh man. Yeah.
Appendage.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
It's alright. We're terrible at names on this show.
Well, you know what? I think that's all we have time for today.
I think that is, yeah. Thanks so much for joining us, Jacob. That was really fun.
Thank you for taking me on this journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was a great idea, and I think we came up with a pretty neat game there.
Something that no one else would ever think of.
Yeah, jeez.
So we're fine there. Yep. So Jacob, are you able to give everyone the details for your game and how to get in contact with you?
Sure, no worries. My name is Jacob Janerka. I implore you to buy my game and all the merchandise if you can. You can find me at paradigmadventure.com, and that would be lovely if you shower me with dollar bills.
Both Ben and I have showered you with dollar bills.
So
Thank you very much. I do.
20-ish of them. I can't remember how much I paid now. Very, very fair price, obviously.
What are you buying? Some like bootleg Paradigm someone's been selling you like above like not even Steam prices. You just on some scalper or something. Paradigm scalper.
Damn it, ripped them off. Yeah, great. All right. Well, and you can find us. Let's do our thing. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We are BitstormCast on all of those. Come and comment. Tell us what you thought of the show. Tell us any ideas you had that we might have missed. Yeah, come and talk to us.
You can find us on iTunes. If you could please leave a rating and a review there, and also subscribe to us there. Just search for Bitstorm.
We have a website as well, bitstormcast.com. You can listen to our episodes there and find subscribe links there as well.
We'd like to thank Kurodust for providing the intro and outro song today. The song is Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
We use Zencastr for our recording capabilities, zencastr.com, Zencastr. Check them out.
And we'd also implore you to check out the awesome gaming podcast group, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network, AGPN for short. Just search on Twitter for AGP Network or hashtag AGPN.
All right, so yeah, thanks for joining us today on Bitstorm, everybody. Thanks for joining us, Jacob. That was awesome.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
I am Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
I am Jacob Janerka.
So, a game where you play a severed hand trying to find your way back to your long-lost host.
I'd play that.